When there's ongoing stress from a child's extreme acting out behaviors, after a while, one of the parents or both of the parents may start blaming themselves. For the simplicity of doing this recording, I'm going to say mom, but for the dads watching this, please don't be offended. I know how involved so many dads are. I know that so many dads are also the primary caregiver, but I got to keep it as simple as possible, so I'm just going to go with moms. So the mom often takes on a feeling of blame or goes through phases in raising the child where she blames herself. She blames herself for not finding the right services, for not being able to afford the right services, for not knowing about a particular miraculous therapy or drug sooner before it was supposedly too late, for not being more proactive about intervening in her child, for exposing the younger children or the older children or the grandchildren or whomever to the behaviors that are existing in this child's diagnosis. She can blame herself for just about anything that happened and can really build in some self-hatred. That comes out in a lot of different ways, doesn't it? In the ways that you relate to people or don't relate to people, and in what you do to yourself, emotionally and maybe even physically. But you know, the truth is, you gotta let the blame go. You brought this child into your life either through giving birth or through adoption or taking a relative's child. You did that out of your joy of life, out of what you have to give, out of the care, out of the good person that you truly are. You made the decision to have a baby or to adopt this child or however you got the child because you really believed at the time with the information that you had that you could do it, that this would be a safe life, that you could take care of everything and provide and protect everybody. Sometimes it just doesn't work that way, but when it doesn't, it isn't your fault. You don't need to blame yourself, and you need to find a way to forgive yourself if need be, but mostly to just let go of the blame, to just move away from that. That takes up time and energy that you probably don't have and could be used elsewhere if you do have it. So let's take a look at where we can do with that. Tap along with me, as always. A little bit of tapping we're going to do here is not going to solve all of your issues. It isn't going to fully remove the blame. It's the first step. Change the wording, the feelings, all of it to your own circumstances, and do the tapping either on your own or by contracting with a EFT provider to do it fully and more in depth. The important thing is, let's take that first step to get rid of the blame that you do not deserve. So as always, we'll go to the feelings I get in my body when I think about the issue. And for me, when I start to blame myself for everything, it's knots in my stomach. So we'll go with that. So even though I get these knots in my stomach when I think it's all that's happened to our family from the behaviors that I chose to bring in, that I chose to be in our lives, I can let them go. Even though I get knots in my stomach when I think that's all that's happened because of the decisions I made to have this in our lives, I forgive myself. I choose to feel okay. I choose to know that this isn't my fault. Even though I get knots in my stomach when I think about bringing the decisions I made, the influence I had on bringing all these issues into our lives and all the harm they've caused, the problems they've caused, I choose to stop blaming myself. All of the problems that have come in, the things I never knew or anticipated could happen, all the things we haven't been able to provide or do that I thought we could, all the behaviors that I'm not powerful enough, wise enough, or rich enough to get rid of, all the things we've tried that didn't work, the things we've tried that will try that maybe I've even lost hope for, the things I blame myself for, the blame that's taking up my soul, my heart, and my time and my energy. I feel so much blame. I feel so much blame. I take on so much blame. It isn't anybody's fault but mine. I made the decisions. I had the influence. Take a breath. Any thoughts or feelings, follow them through. Either stick with what we're saying or follow the ones that are going on in your body and your mind. Your brain will tell you what you need to know, what you need to be following. Even though I still blame myself for all that's happened because it was my choice, I choose to let it go. Even though I still blame myself and get these knots in my stomach when I think about it, I choose to stop blaming myself. Even though I get knots in my stomach when I start to think about all that's happened because of what I wanted, what I thought was best, I can stop blaming myself. I am okay. I did the best I could. I do the best I can. These problems are bigger than me. These problems are bigger than lots of people. It isn't my fault. I did all this from love. Take a breath. Even though I still have knots in my stomach when I think about all that's happened from my decisions, I choose to stop blaming myself. Even though I get knots in my stomach when I think about all the stress, all the behaviors, everything that came into our lives because of what I thought I wanted, I choose to accept that I made the best decision I could and I made it out of love. Even though I have knots in my stomach when I think about all we still have to live through, all that we still can't fix, I choose to stop blaming myself because I know I'm doing my best and I know I did this with the best of intent. I did my best. I was trying to be a good person. I never knew I didn't have enough information. And even if I had, maybe this is the only path. Maybe this is what had to be. I am not all powerful. I am not God. I can't fix everything. I don't cause everything. I can't change much. I am not to blame. Take a deep breath. Even though I still have some knots in my stomach, I choose to let it all go. Even though I still have some knots in my stomach when I think about how I blame myself for all that's happened, I choose to stop blaming myself and know that I am okay. Even though I still have some knots in my stomach when I think about all that's happened to everybody in my family from what I wanted or thought I wanted at the time, I choose to stop blaming myself and to know that I'm okay. I am okay. I am not to blame. I did nothing wrong. I have a good heart. I lead with my heart. I feel with my heart. I live with my heart. And there is no blame in that. I do the best I can. I always have. I do now. I always will. There is no blame in that. I am not to blame. It is not my fault. I did the best I could with what I knew at the time, and this is my path. I accept that. It is not my fault. I choose to know that it is not my fault. Good breath. It really isn't your fault. The behaviors aren't your fault any more than they are your child or your teens. You are not to blame. If you need help to get over this, reach out to an EFT provider or some mental health professional who can help you work this through to the end. Don't lose sleep or health or relationships over blaming yourself. You are not to blame. And remember, you are entitled to a better day.